Hello friends and welcome to the Red and Green reading vlog. I'm ready to get holly. I'm ready to get jolly. I don't know why folly in my head just felt like it needed to come out because it rhymed. I don't know, but we're going to be reading some red and green books this week. Hi Oliver. Was I talking too excited for you? I swear every time I sit down in this position to film when the bed is right here, it's always at the beginning of a video that he wants to get involved. If I'm in the middle of it, he don't care. If I'm already talking, he's gone. But if I say hi, hello, he's like, hello. Anywho, since if you would have watched my red and green recommendations video, you would know that there are so many books on my TBR that are both red and green, and I haven't quite figured out which books I want to read yet. I do not know. However, what I do know that I want to start with is none other than we have Red City by Marie Lu. I can't give you chapter updates because the chapters in this book are all like alchemical symbols, which is interesting. Like 65 pages or so. So far I'm really liking this book. We have an interesting setup that I wasn't entirely sure if I was going to be intrigued by. So far I'm so in it. Now chapter 1 starts off with our female main character, Sam. Sam and her mother are both immigrants. They immigrated when I think Sam was like 2. I don't know, she was very, very young. However, Sam is brought up in this very resource-driven world in which she is noting a lot of the things that her mother is doing. She sees her mother as this really creative, resourceful figure. Sam as a child notes a lot of really integral things to their culture. She talks about these things that just are, that is her life, and that is who she is as a person. However, she gets introduced to this thing called alchemy, and she gets introduced to it in a little bit of a secretive hush-hush format. She starts to question things. Then we cut to a scene in which it sucks and her life is very much so not sunshine and roses. The way that the first chapter is structured is so intentional and so purposeful, and if I were to rate this book off to chapter 1, 6 stars, like easy peasy, done. We get to see her really start to question her life, but then we get to see her become this person who is ultimately a people pleaser, but her whole goal in life is to fly under the radar, okay? She doesn't want to be seen, she doesn't want to be noticed. She is such a perfectionist because she doesn't want to get in trouble. I relate to her so hard. The fact that she is this absolute perfectionist, but she doesn't want to be so perfect that she gets noticed because she doesn't want to be noticed, she doesn't want to get in trouble, but she also needs to be perfect enough that she doesn't get in trouble, so she has this a lot of anxiety about like being something for someone, specifically for her mother, because she knows what her mother has invested in her, I guess, and what she sacrificed to be here, and so she wants to be able to, you know, make it up to her mom, right? Then we cut to our main male character named Ari. Ari is in a different situation. While Sam was an only child, Ari came from a pretty large family. We get to see an uncle essentially show up, and he has a different introduction to alchemy, in which this uncle is like, hey, you're coming with me, kid, and he's like, what? But whereas Sam really specifically wants to fly under the radar, Ari is described as this person who just grabs your attention. He's beautiful, he's very visually striking, everyone pays attention to him. So his utter just like desire, the only thing that he wants in this world is to not be paid attention to. So while Sam is never noticed, but she ultimately just wants to be seen and doesn't want to have to be this performative character, we cut to Ari, who while he's always being really visibly noticed, he also feels like he's never been seen. Okay, these two characters come together. It's so good. They're both people pleasing, people that just feel like no one gets them, and then they start this little pen pal relationship with each other. You guys, okay, I am not a childhood friends to lovers person, and I think most of that comes from the past and present timeline story structure. We don't have this in this story. The whole first part of this book is just developing these two characters and watching them like figure out who they are as people. We see them grow up, and then we see how they become friends, and we see them as they grow up, so it's chronologically, not just like all kind of mixed around. So we actually get to see them become friends. I'm having a really good time with it. I think that I am really enjoying their connection, their friendship, the way that they fit together does really, really well, but I'm also really enjoying the things that we're saying in this book. There are so many really big themes, so many really incredible statements about humanity and different focuses on different types of people. I think given that Marie Lu is Chinese American, we're seeing a lot of that reflect in her writing, and we're seeing these people essentially who are in search of a better life and all the sacrifice that they have to give to get there. There's so much sacrifice that we've already had so far that I'm assuming it's only going to get up to more, and I'm just really my socks are getting rocked off at the moment. So I'm gonna continue reading this. As far as what else we get up to, I don't know, but so far we're doing real good. I am very, very stinking slowly making my way through the round of witches brew that I got in Taos. I'm gonna be real sad to see it go. I have tried the new Christmassy one and I really liked it. I just can't find it. So we're going back to our October-y roots today. So it's currently Saturday morning, which I feel like is always kind of just a good morning to clean, but it's extra a good morning to clean because this afternoon we're doing a watch along of the Lord of the Rings and we're watching the extended editions, and it has absolutely changed my life. Like, I feel like I've just never watched Lord of the Rings before. With watching the extended editions, it's crazy town. We're watching The Two Towers this afternoon and I'm so excited about it. However, I need an audiobook while I clean, and also I have made some pretty substantial progress in Red City, so I would be surprised if I didn't finish this today. I am currently on chapter 31. There are so many things that are currently and throughout the entire book that have not only been reminding me of Jade City, but also feel like we're doing something a little bit unique here. So the Jade City tie-ins, we do have two essentially syndicates that are managing, producing, controlling all the good things about this thing called sand, and it's kind of it's basically like a magic drug that will give alchemists like extra juice, but it also makes alchemy possible. So if you haven't read Jade City, it's very similar in the fact that jade is a very closely monitored, fought over, sought out substance. We get kind of the same vibe in here, and as such we get these political groups that are structured around sourcing, obtaining, controlling this commodity and all of the power that it provides. So we follow our two main characters, and they both come to alchemy in different ways, and they also unfortunately get involved in alchemy in different ways, and they are now on completely opposing sides. The thing about these syndicates is that these are essentially big crime groups. They can kind of do whatever the heck they want. The way that alchemy is able to produce results for them, we can say, we do get more details as to how all that works, and it was crazy town. The stakes in this are so incredibly high. Okay, the problem that we are really running into at this time is that our two characters that we spent the entire first half of the book really developing and really just like pouring our hearts into, they are now on opposite sides of what is turning into the beginnings of a really big conflict. There is plot in this book, but it's not really, I mean, it's not crazy overly plotted. The whole point of this story is to watch these two characters that have had so many just like ties to each other. It's giving like invisible string. They keep not necessarily fighting, but they keep not giving in to what is tying themselves together, and it's just kind of like this whole circle of, oh, we're best friends. We don't want to ruin that best friend, but like, I really want it to be this moment. Oh, but that kind of, oh, but I'm not going to say anything. But, oh, we're best friends. And, oh, I think and it just keeps going around and around. And it is crazy town. There's a lot of angst, tension, longing, missed opportunities, potential opportunities, excitement that we're going to maybe do something in all this buildup, and then let down. And it's good. Okay, so if you're someone who doesn't like character-driven stories, you are not gonna like this book. The way that we really spend a lot of time in these characters' backgrounds, their morals, their upbringing, their origination story, we develop these characters so incredibly well in such a short amount of time. It's insanity. Like, I feel like I know and can see myself in a lot of these characters in different ways, specifically with Sam. If you're the only child and or oldest daughter and you are very much so a perfectionist and a big people pleaser and are just trying to live up to a lot of things, Sam is gonna get you. But Ari, if you are someone who feels detached and not really seen while also being very visibly seen at all times, but you feel like people just don't get you, but you're also trying to be a people pleaser at all times, that's Ari. And they're having to butt heads, and they can't really get out of what they're doing because there are so many high stakes in what they're doing. They're in like low-key a magical mafia, and they can't exactly like say no to what the leader wants them to do because they know too much, they've done too much, they have seen too much, they've been paid too much, and they're too deep. Character-driven characters are driving me insane, and I need to know what's gonna happen. I'm having a really good time with it. Okay, I have now finished The City That Is Red. I did read it. It has now been read by me. Sorry, I'm really just like trying to wrap my head around all of my thoughts, and I think because this was a deeply anticipated 5-star for me, and it's not a 5-star, but I did really like it. Okay, I think this is a solid 4-star for me. This is the kind of series that I'm trying to think, like, if book 2 were out at this moment, would I immediately need to be going into book 2? And honestly, no. We set up where book 2 is gonna go. And I do think that's interesting, but the way that we dismantle a lot of the conflict in this book makes me, like, I don't know, it's not the same, like, I know what the conflict moving forward is going to be, and that just kind of, like, takes some of the mystery out of it in a sense, but that also gives me something to want to read towards. The way that the romance in particular is done, the romance drives a significant part of the story, and it drives a significant part of the conflict, because the whole thing is, hey, these two characters, they're besties, right? They're on opposing sides. What are they gonna do? And I didn't feel like we got as much into the nitty gritty as we possibly could have, but I feel like we did do some, they did do some damage, okay? The things that they did weren't unforgivable, and I think that I almost wish that the things that they did were unforgivable. However, the way that this book also approached telling the story of people who are not set up for success in this world, and who very much so do not have privilege, the way that it approached those was really incredible. I feel like there was not a lot of wish fulfillment here. It was really practical, really dark, really sad reality. This book just says a lot, and I think it says a lot of really important things. So I'm definitely glad that I read it. And I feel like the color of this book is getting me one step closer to feeling very holly jolly. I'm realizing that my closet is definitely open behind me, so don't be terrified by the black open door behind me. I should probably close that, shouldn't I? I'm gonna close that. So I did a very silly little thing last night, and I started to cage a wild bird. I was really interested in this book, and honestly, I'm sorry if you're wondering what I'm doing down here. I am doing my 2026 reading journal. Yeah, I fear she's gonna be a good one, folks. My ideal goal for this vlog was to read 2 red, 1 green books, given that there are so many red books on my TBR. Not R-E-A-D, but R-E-D. I'm losing it today. I didn't quite know what I wanted to read for my green book either, and I didn't quite know what I wanted to read for my second red book, but I was like, wait, what if I just? So I did in fact just. I am currently having a really good time with it. I was going to give you a page count update. I am 21% of the way through. Okay. I have thoughts about this book. The thoughts start and end with I having a good time. I have been absolutely craving laying down in bed on some like dark night and just binging a book, and I keep falling asleep every time I try to do that, and I am just like not accepting the fact that I am no longer as intensely of a night owl. And I think it's just because I have a puppy that likes to wake up at 7 a.m. But also, am I getting old? I don't know. Am I even who I am as a person? I don't know. So I've been just absolutely craving reading a little KU fan row in bed on my little Kindle stand in the middle of the night on a Saturday night and just like living my best life. So I did in fact start that. I did fall asleep 20% of the way in after only reading like 6% Friday night because I tried to do the same thing and I fell asleep in like 2 minutes. I digress. This book, let me give you a little bit of synopsis and I'll give you my thoughts so far. The beginning of this book, we meet our female main character that I can't even remember her name because it is in first POV, and I feel like we don't reference her name very often. What is your name, girly pop? Raven. Her name is literally Raventhorn. Like, how much more of a basic fan row name can you get? And I can't remember that. I don't know. I'm leaving all of this in at this point because I just feel like it's funny, and like it's funny to see where my BOOKMAS brain is at the moment because there is no brain left in the building. We meet our female main character, Raven, while she is in the middle of essentially a bounty hunt. She is a bounty hunter in which she captures criminals, as a bounty hunter does, but she delivers them to the like city government technically, who then dump all of these criminals into a prison called Endlock. We get a really interesting combination of a lot of really popular dystopian books and different like plot devices to kind of give us these themes in which Endlock, all of the prisoners are essentially eligible to be not enrolled, but selected for what is called the hunt. And there's like 3 hunts a day with 10 people each. And the hunt, basically, citizens of the city will pay a ticket price to go in and hunt these prisoners. They will get a weapon. They will get the actual tools to murder these prisoners. And then the prisoners just kind of like have to not die. There are some very specific rules. It's not really like a fight to the death situation as far as I know yet. We've not actually been involved in a hunt yet. However, we have a system that is set up to provide entertainment and essentially tourism for crime. Crime in this world is not as criminal as like maybe we might expect, given that these people are very poor. We're in a post-apocalyptic style kind of world in which crops don't really grow, food is super scarce, everyone is dirt freaking poor. We have all these different sectors. Raven is in the lower sector, and her parents passed when she was like 16, and she was left to take care of her like 12 several years younger brother, doing everything she can to provide for him, not only from the financial we have to like eat perspective, but also from the perspective of not getting in trouble for the slightest infraction that will then put him into the prison and lock. So she's got a lot of street smarts about her. She's got a lot of like wherewithal about her. However, when her parents passed, she basically was forced to immediately drop out of school and start being a bounty hunter. She had to pick the first thing that would give her money to provide for not only herself but her brother, who she would do anything for, which I always love that as a trope. I love sibling dynamics in books when they have such a ride or die relationship for each other. I love it. However, Raven is very vocally about her brother and herself. She gets criticized for being all about the money, and in this world, like, yeah, dog, you dang right, because otherwise we're starving. Like, what else do you want me to do here? I'm gonna do anything for my brother, and we are gonna have food tonight. Like, what else? I can't do anything else. This is all I got, and if that makes me a selfish witch, then so be it. So she is sure of herself in that aspect, but she also was forced to grow up way too young, but she's in this world that just sucks. There is an extreme level of power dynamics in this city, and she just so happens to be on the lower sector, the bottom of the totem pole. And if a guard just happens to look at her funny, if a guard looks at her brother funny, maybe somebody just decided to be mean for the day and decided to accuse her of stealing. Things are you lightly get barely accused by someone in a higher sector than you, and you are done for, because you are immediately shipped off to this prison in which there is no escape. There is no long-term prisoner. Like, you're gonna get hunted for sport. So there's a lot of obviously power dynamics in this world, but then there's also a lot of commentary on injustice, and also this idea of people expecting you to be a certain way when in reality you are literally just trying to survive. But the things that you do for survival, what does that mean? What does that say about you? On one hand, yes, you are providing for you and your loved ones, but that means the people that you just bounty hunted, you just booted them off to go be killed. Like, you might as well have killed them yourself. There's a lot of commentary so far, which I'm really enjoying. I've heard this described as like Silver Elite with more commentary. So far, from what I actually got into Silver Elite, I know that there wasn't like a lot of social commentary on that book in general, but I only made it to like 50%, so I'm assuming the teeny tiny bits were probably in the last half. Anyways, I'm assuming here, from what I'm gathering about this book, we have a lot of very upfront discussion, and then I think we're starting to get into little touches, little touches, quite literally, of romance as we get into it, because the focus in this book is truly about the world and about Raven's role in this world so far, and we're starting to get into how things get a little bit muddy because she happened to have a little, we can call it an encounter with someone before she went into the prison. She has been a bounty hunter. She has, hijacked people for several years now. She's not completely defenseless, and I think that's going to be really interesting as we get into her time in the prison. However, she's just gotten an end lock. She is starting to see the lay of the land. She's starting to meet some people. She, happens to realize that the guy that she had a little meet cute with the night before is a guard here. So I'm curious to see how that develops. I'm really curious to see how the romance versus the commentary that we're getting. I don't want the romance to cheapen the commentary, but I'm just a girl. I just want romance at the end of the day. It's just fun. And to be clear, this is not fanro. It's reading like a fanro in that the writing style is similar to one, and it's kind of giving me the same vibes as one, but there's no magic in this book. And from what I've heard so far, there is no magic to be found anywhere in this book. It is truly just a dystopian in a post-apocalyptic world kind of vibe. However, I'm liking the dystopian romance. It's really interesting to watch publishing trends and to watch what things we start to explore more and how that commentary is brought about and popularized in a publishing industry based on what's going on in the world at the time. There's a lot of parallels to be gathered between fiction and reality. However, I'm having a really good time sussing all those little things out at the moment, and I'm having fun. This is our second red book for the vlog, okay? It's time to pick out our green book. However, I fear I don't want to read any of the green books I was thinking about right now, and I know that I made a really big fuss about not wanting to read Christmas holiday romances. Listen. My brain's just a little like, I kind of just want to be holly jolly for a minute. I don't want to think. I want to color to my cutesy little journal and listen to a romance. Like, I'm craving a just cheesy, romancy, like romance moment. And I was originally going to read Mate, but honestly, I think I want to have a little bit more holly jolly spirit. However, this is all being brought on because my audiobook called For Good Spirits has it's arrived. Just kidding. I can't find this hold literally anywhere. Like, I swear that I got a notification for it and I'm not seeing it. So do I just sit here and listen to Mate? I was really hoping to not buy an audiobook here, but I might just have to. Okay, so absolute plot twist of the century. I want a romance, right? That's really what I want. One of my favorite traditions is after Christmas to just sit and binge like guilty pleasure style reads, like things that I wouldn't necessarily want to vlog or post about, but things I just want to read to brain rot. Last year I read a whole bunch of cowboy romance, and so now I just associate Christmas with cowboy romance. So Maggie Yates has her cowboy Christmas book, and I did definitely make my mom get an audiobook of that the other day, so I might just go steal my mom's audiobook for that. Look at me being a holiday romance reader. This is really weird. Really, I just want to rot and read To Cage a Wild Bird, but like I also kind of want a bullet journal, so I just can't be happy. Cowboy, it's cold outside. Oh, I love being a woman.
Canary Street Press and Harper Audio present Cowboy, It's Cold Outside by Macy Yates. Performed by Samantha Cook.
I love it here.
To Sheena, this is for you. Just like I grew up in charity, often laughed about. Rosie bought her mugs and t-shirts that said boy mom, which she pretended to hate, but used. Quinn and Levi and Rory and Gideon each had two. A boy and a girl, also redheads.
I hate it here.
Go on. This is Samantha Cook. We hope you've enjoyed this unabridged production of
What was that? Like, I'm not okay. This was not on my bingo card for today. I'm sitting here just chopping away at my little bullet journal stuff, and all of a sudden, so I just finished the book, if you couldn't tell. Little things just started happening, and this is one of those, I'll give you a synopsis in a second, but one of those stories in which things just like kept happening and just kept like, oh, I felt that. Oh, I felt that. Oh, I felt that. And now I'm in tears. Like, am I okay? I don't think I'm okay. I don't know what's happening anymore. I'm sorry, do I like holiday romances now? What is going on? I have a thing with romances in general where sometimes I just like, it gets me in a really rough emotional state because I just, as a single human being, sometimes it's really hard to read about other people going off and being happy and, riding off into the sunset when you're not. And seeing particular romance tropes and particular, like, I don't know, character relationships just get me down, okay? And I don't mean down, but like, they just get me down bad, like, for multiple reasons. So in this particular book, the only, like, I don't know, I think I'm gonna give this a 4-star. I say ball over it. Am I gonna give it a 5-star? No, it's stuff. I don't know, I'm gonna need a minute on it. So this is, I think, what's kind of the last book in a interconnected standalone series in which the whole family has had their whole thing, but anytime it's the oldest sibling's turn to come along. So there were definitely like parts in which it explained to you about the other couples in the book, but had I actually seen those other couples, I would have been sobbing. I would have been a freaking mess, as if I'm not literally already. The whole book as opposed to the ending of the book, and I'm just really confused right now. It's been a day. Our two characters are both the children of two fathers who absolutely suck booty, and they, by that I mean they were both involved in, they weren't really involved in like gangs, but like low-key, the father of our male main character, kind of like a kingpin, so to speak, and her father had kind of gotten involved in it, so they'd had a little bit of a history, but he was a little older than she was, and she, after all of those events, just kind of had to deal with her really sucky father. But then she had several younger siblings who, when her father finally passed, she was 18, and so she basically took custody of her siblings, okay? And cut to our main male character, who was kind of a father figure to his siblings. He was old enough to be participating in some of his father's business, and he didn't quite realize the extent of how bad it was. He thought he was just doing things for his father, who he loved. Not that they were actually doing bad things to people, doing things that hurt people. So his whole life has been kind of trying to atone for those things, and her whole life has been trying to provide a good life for her siblings, and she's basically been working day in, day out like a dog, trying to get her siblings like sent off to college and raised, and no one's taking care of her. He swoops in, but also no one's taking care of him. And so this is just the, like, if you're someone who loses it over caretaking, like I'm literally tearing up again as I'm sitting here like talking about it. If you love a good caretaking scene, I'm gonna actually like lose it again. What is happening? What is going on? I think it's been a while since I've read a contemporary romance that I really just connected with, and I think I'm just in the, I've been in the mood. I'm in the Christmas spirit. Okay, apparently I'm in the mood to read, and bawl like a little baby. And you know what? I'm okay with that. Like, I feel like it's the season of feeling the feels. And for some reason, this book actually made me feel, instead of just being like, all right, move on next. Like, I felt like it was really deep in a lot of ways. Like, it wasn't just a surface level Christmassy, cutesy, silly, goofy, fluffy time. I bawled. And I feel like I'm gonna stop talking and continue to go bawl somewhere after this. Like, I'm trying to distract myself with like cutting out the little paper here, but it was just so sweet. So like, am I PMSing? Like, what's going on here? I don't really understand. And I think had I not been sitting here just like doing my bullet journal and, actually like listening, I might not have gotten so in my feels, but for some, I don't know. It was just like the right book, the right time. I really want to go back and read the rest of the series now. I'm like, is this an author that is going to be it for me? Like, this was kind of a cowboy romance in the sense that like he has a family, like, is it a farm, I think, technically speaking, but he's not super involved in the farming, so he's like kind of a cowboy, but really just because he owns land and not because he's an actual cowboy. Though I'm really intrigued to see about the other siblings, because we got to see a lot of the cameos from the other ones, and now that I just want to know their backstories. Like, am I actually gonna go, after I finish reading To Cage a Wild Bird, am I just gonna go down a rabbit hole in the series, because there are so many. And I think that's one of those series where it's just like a silly, goofy little cowboy romance series that like every like character is gonna have their own little moment, and every character's little moment is going to be a different like trope, setting, whatever. This one, wow. Do I even still have eyelashes on? I don't know. There was a little grand gesture. Wow. Have I just been sitting at this desk for too long today? I think this book did a really good job about talking about family and how love can be both good and bad, but how that can continue to affect the rest of your life if you don't take ownership of that. You can save other people all you want to, but if they don't want to be saved, it don't matter jack squat. So you can care for other people, but if those other people don't want to be cared for, you can't do it. And also, caretaking in and of itself is not a way to get people to love you. If you're not actively caring for people, that's not why people love you. You can be worthy in other ways. If the work is done and you're no longer killing yourself to provide or to like care for people, that doesn't mean that you no longer can provide value. That doesn't mean that they just stop loving you because the work is done. Like, you don't have to always just be busy and continually to find the next thing to fix I think both of these characters were fixers. So I think I just felt really randomly seen by this book in a lot of ways. And also, I think I was really in the mood for something like this. Apparently, I think I just want to go lay in bed and like, apparently keep crying because I keep trying to talk about it and I keep just like soft sobs. I'm okay. Wow. I don't know that I would just casually recommend this book to most people because I feel like it's kind of a specific, like if you like caretaking, dog. If that's not your thing, that's the whole point of this freaking book. But I also, there's a lot of like loneliness and just wanting to be seen and just a lot of buzzwords for me. So I wouldn't necessarily just recommend this book to everybody because I think that some people are going to read this book and be like, Bailey, what, are you okay? And to the answer I would give you is, no, I'm not. But I really like this book because of that. Man, joke's on me. I can't believe I was so 10 toes down on not reading a Christmas romance and then I did it. And it did me. Okay, moving on. Back to dystopian romance. Okay, I didn't get the 5-star feeling. However, I got a 4.5-star feeling. I had such a fun time, but also balanced in with, what is your deal? We're having Ellie's just honestly been having a day. Okay. No, ma'am. I'm ignoring that behavior. I refuse to acknowledge that. Ow. Okay. I put my hair in a very wackadoodle bun this morning and then I just never took it out and it's here. Anyways, I've officially finished. And I apparently also have a wild bird that needs to be caged. I think that this book really balanced fun with also very relevant themes that really deserve their exploration in this current environment. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say. But it did so in a way that didn't make me feel like I was, I don't know, being confronted with that. It made me voluntarily want to think about these things and explore these things. Like, it wasn't trying to shove it down your throat, and I really appreciate that. I feel like it led you to ask yourself questions as opposed to it telling you something. I think it created space for you to explore your own opinions, which I can really appreciate. I don't like being told what to do. I like to make my own opinion about things, and I appreciate that this book created space for me to think about those things in a fictional context while also not making me go there. Like, if I just wanted to have a silly, fun, goofy time with it, I could. And I think that is also something to be said, in that we can hide a lot of things that's happening in the real world behind a very pretty, fun, silly, goofy front, okay? And I just think that that is really compelling to read about. I think the biggest portion about this book that I didn't like that caused it to be a 4.5 versus a full 5 was the romance, oddly enough. I just wanted more depth. We did not get as much depth. We got instant attraction, which is great, and it has its place. I just think with where we went in the story, at the very end, I just needed a little bit more oomph to really believe that these characters felt that way. And I don't think that's because that this book is in a first person POV. Like, we don't get our main male characters POV. I actually like it a lot. I do wish that we had either had an extra maybe conversation, an extra scene, an extra layer of some of the emotional connection between the two main characters and just gone a teensy bit further into their own character developments before we had this whole thing settle in and occur. However, that was basically my only complaint about this book. Also, sorry if you can hear Elliot absolutely gnawing away at the bars of her enclosure. She's not, it's actually just a bone, but you get the picture. Anyways, we got to read one of my most anticipated releases of the year, like probably top 3. I'm thinking about like Onyx Storm, Brimstone, Red City. Such a fun time. I got to put my big fat foot in my mouth and read a holiday romance, and I actually bawled over it. I don't know, is my tiny, teeny little Grinch heart growing 3 sizes? Perhaps. And we got to end everything off with reading a book that I just feel like is an up-and-comer. It just, for good reason. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this one. We are slowly drawing to a close on BOOKMAS. I'm so excited for the holidays. I'm so excited to make all the memories. So whether you celebrate Christmas or you celebrate another holiday that you could read the same color of books for that holiday, or whether you don't celebrate anything at all, I hope you have a fun time reading some very fun books regardless. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this one. I hope you have a great rest of your day or night wherever you are, and I'll catch you in one of the final BOOKMAS videos.